Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. My name is Aleshin as we are in Ride 3 today, taking on the Nordschleife. Just next to the pit lane is where we will start. Of course, they have an ambulance. That's actually a nice touch. We might end up needing that, won't we? Today we are on the Yamaha R6 to see if this 2017 motorcycle can lap the Nürburgring, and let's shoot for under 7 minutes. That's always the point to go for. Now, a couple of things to cover in this video is we will just about always see that invalid lap time marker in the top left. That shows up when you just nudge a curb, when you stop on track, things like that. It'll just exist and be a part of us. Also, the braking line will be on throughout this, as the Nürburgring, while I know it just about as well as any other casual racer, is a completely different animal on bikes. You get like 5 times the width for use. It's a completely different experience. So let's get going as we start our hot lap, reset that lap timer, and we are over 100 miles an hour already into turn 1. The motorcycles accelerate incredibly fast. Of course, the Yamaha R6 doesn't have all that much on the side of torque, but the horsepower figures are pushing 120. It's quite a lot from a motorcycle. Hardly what you get out of a NA Miata, especially after the horsepower depreciation over time. Here we go into some slower sections before we can let this thing sing. There we go, dodging the curbs nicely. The curbs in Ride 3 are horrible. On motorcycles overall, they're horrible. You hit it wrong and it will just send you. You can rub them a little bit sometimes, but you don't want to rub them too often. Now, we are screaming up the hill as we hit 140, 150 nearly from the Yamaha. We will have to slow it down for the right-hander. My rider didn't even have his hand on the handlebars at that moment. Come on, mad lad right there. Now, obviously, we are going to have a lot of fun on this series. We want to know what kind of bikes you want us to ride throughout this series. Currently, we're starting on that R6. Seems like a good middle point to be, but there are lots of options. We'll get to some Ducatis as we slow down for the left-hander there just a little bit. Ignore the braking line for the most part and slow it down nice and early here. But as I was saying, the Ducatis are on option. We have Aprilias, we have Triumphs, we have all sorts of motorcycles. If you guys ask me to ride a Honda, sadly, I will go ahead and do that for you. We don't want to ride Hondas too often on this channel. I'm kidding. Anyway, onto this downhill section. Get a lot of G-force coming down the hill right there before coming back up. It's really sketchy in cars, but extremely dangerous in motorcycles, as those G-forces will completely change your trajectory. Down to first gear for a brief moment there. Coming through, staying off the curbs nicely. We can use it on exit. There we go. Just enough. And so far, we are running quite a clean lap on this Yamaha R6. Some of the braking line, obviously, we have been following, but some of it we can also ignore. Right there, we can get on power a lot earlier, carry some more speed through that section. As we come on to the more technical section of the Nürburgring, a lower speed. Oh, hop in the curb. That's a little sketchy. Let's just take 2 seconds off of our time for that little mistake. As you guys can tell, riding motorcycles on this track is a madman's game. Absolutely insane stuff as you're going over 100 miles an hour constantly on this track with really little to protect you. You can very easily nudge a curb wrong. You can very easily get on the power wrong just a little bit too early and get quite the wiggle out of your bike. I see people on YouTube doing this on S1000 RRs all the time. They are insane, and I hope they're using traction control, in all honesty. There we go. Down to second again as we're about to come up the hill onto a more familiar section where the carousel will be in just a moment. We have to get the inside banking on that corner just right. Very difficult. On motorcycles, you might have noticed already, you have to turn in extremely early to get that rotation. From the Yamaha, we are not getting a lot of mid-corner rotation. From other bikes we do. It's amazing how different the handling characteristics can be between two bikes, since they're all on 2 wheels anyway. But the chassis and the motor and the torque change the bike's dynamics completely. So, as you'll see, we are turning in very early for these corners, rubbing the curb right there just fine. Things are getting through. Let's stay on the track. My gosh, carrying a little bit too much speed as this Yamaha is approaching 150 miles an hour. There we go. If you guys prefer kilometers, of course they are up on the dash, if you haven't noticed that already. There we go, getting a big wiggle under braking in the front forks. My gosh, we are absolutely sending it around the green hell today. Let's try to carry some speed. Downshift to fourth. Whoa, big wiggle from the grass. We got to be careful around there. Bring it down to second, and let's take a breather for a minute. Leave it in second. Don't want to get any wheelies or too crazy right there as we get right back on the acceleration into the carousel. Carousel, we want to brake a little early, drop it in nicely. Right there we go. A little bit of correction. The Yamaha's a little bit unsteady through there, getting a little bit of wheelie on exit of the carousel. And man, onto the last half of the lap. Arguably, for me at least, the more exciting part of our lap. It's more technical, more dangerous, and higher speeds. The motorcycles get very unsettled very easily. There's a big slide from the Yamaha on the exit as we need to bring it back around. Whoa, another big slide. Let's be more careful on that power. We still need to remember to turn in early, but not too early for the last half of the Nordschleife. Some of these corners can be quite deceiving. I believe we are now approaching YouTuber corner right here. Whoa, big slide, drifting it through the corner as we get it resettled. That's not too bad. Keep it off the grass. Running it a little bit too wide through there. Not going to be too much of a big deal. I will... have to watch out for this cobblestone. That was extremely unfortunate. Essentially ruined our lap altogether. But we are so far in it and flying on this Yamaha. We are just going to have to take it. My gosh, I hope I don't have to do that too soon or too often in this series. That's really embarrassing if I'm completely honest. But there we go. Back onto the last half. Let's use the curb a little bit. Get the front wheel up. We are doing just fine at this point. Sending it down into the jump right here. Whoa! Not quite catching air in the Yamaha. Not quite going fast enough. And we want to keep it settled and maintained anyway. We need to brake early for these corners in comparison to some of the cars. We don't have as much braking as others. We get some air on the crest up here, and we nail the curb right here. Don't slow it down. Let's keep it. Let's keep our balls strong. There we go. And this is a very deceiving corner. Don't want to turn in too early. Want to get that late apex. There we go. Only a couple of corners left on this hot lap. Going on to the second carousel now. We're about to see what kind of miles per hour, what kind of speeds we are going to get up to on the main straightaway. Just one long sweeper left before that main straightaway. Let's take it easy and try to get a good run out. Let's downshift to fourth, slow it down a little bit more, downshift to third even, and get on that power as soon as we can. 110 miles an hour already. We are going to fly down this straightaway. Typically the 600s run around the 160 range, and we don't find any difference from the Yamaha R6. Running about 120 horsepower, just a hair less on what, a 400-pound motorcycle. That is just a crazy power to weight ratio, even from what's not a top tier bike. Up the hill, we're hitting 161, taking us a minute to get across this, down this long straightaway onto the Bilstein Bridge. Almost completed with this lap. We are not going to score under 7 minutes, but it's going to be damn close. There we go, up the hill again. Try to maintain some speed, slow it down a little bit, just shave off some speed right there as we want to make it a lot cleaner than we did at the start of this video through this last section. Let's hop the curb. That's not going to be a worry for us at all. We'll just take it. There we go. And across the line we are. And there we go. Running the Yamaha R6 straight onto the Morris board. There we go. Slap it on. There it is. Simultaneously first and last. I want to know if you guys enjoyed this video. I want to know that by you liking the video. I want you to subscribe and let me know in the comments what kind of bikes you want to see us run in this series. If you have missed my Ride 3 career series, make sure to click on this playlist right here so you can go check that out, and we'll see you there in just a second. Thanks for watching.